Welcome back to SpeakWise Podcast. Have you ever heard an English question? Known exactly what you wanted to say, but your mind suddenly became completely blank? Someone asked you a simple question. You understood every word. You even knew the answer. But instead of speaking, you started translating, searching, overthinking. 5 seconds passed. Then 10. The conversation moved on before you even opened your mouth. Today, you're going to learn how confident English speakers answer questions quickly, naturally, and without translating every sentence in their heads. By the end of this lesson, you'll know how to stop overthinking, trust your English, and respond with confidence. If you enjoy practical English lessons like this, subscribe to SpeakWise Podcast and practice with us every week. Emma walks into the English Conversation Club with a smile. She feels much more confident than she did a month ago. She no longer gives one-word answers. She asks follow-up questions. She enjoys talking with new people. But Sarah notices one small problem. Emma still pauses for several seconds before almost every answer. Sarah walks over. "Good evening, Emma. How are you today?" Emma smiles. She stops. She looks at the ceiling. She thinks. Finally, she answers. "I'm doing well." Sarah smiles kindly. "Your answer was good. But why did it take so long?" Emma laughs. "I don't know. I always feel like I need to find the perfect sentence before I start speaking." Sarah nods. "That's exactly what we're going to change today." Emma looks curious. "Really?" Sarah smiles. "Today, we're playing a game called the Quick Response Challenge. Everyone gathers around the table. Alex looks excited. Ryan smiles. Zofia opens her notebook. Sarah writes a large number on the whiteboard. 3. Emma looks confused. "What does that mean?" Sarah smiles. "Today you have only 3 seconds to begin your answer." The room becomes quiet. David laughs. "Only 3 seconds? That's impossible." Sarah shakes her head. "No. It's impossible, only if you're trying to create the perfect answer. If you simply tell the truth. 3 seconds is more than enough. Repeat after me. I don't need a perfect answer. Repeat. I only need a true answer. Repeat. I can begin speaking immediately. Repeat. Excellent." Sarah writes another sentence. "Think less. Speak sooner." Emma reads it slowly. "Think less. Speak sooner." Sarah nods. Most English learners believe they need more vocabulary, but many already know enough English. Their real problem is hesitation. They spend too much time thinking. Repeat after me. I trust my English. Repeat. I stop overthinking. Repeat. I begin speaking with confidence. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah smiles. Let's try our first question. Emma, what's your favorite drink? Emma immediately starts thinking. Coffee. Or tea. Should I say coffee because I drink it every morning? Maybe I should explain why. Maybe juice is healthier. Sarah gently raises her hand. Stop. Emma laughs. You just proved today's lesson. Everyone smiles. Sarah continues. You weren't answering the question. You were trying to build the perfect answer. Emma nods. You're right. Sarah smiles. Let's try again. Remember, the first true answer. 3. 1. What's your favorite drink? Emma answers immediately. Coffee. Sarah smiles. Good. Now continue. Emma laughs. Coffee is my favorite drink because it helps me wake up in the morning. I usually enjoy 1 cup before work. Sarah nods proudly. See? Starting quickly doesn't mean stopping quickly. You can always add details after you begin. Repeat after me. I begin first. Repeat. Then I add details. Repeat. Starting is the hardest part. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah turns toward Alex. Your turn. What's your favorite season? Alex answers almost immediately. Spring. Sarah smiles. Continue. Spring is my favorite season because everything feels fresh. The weather is comfortable, And I enjoy spending more time outside. Sarah nods. Excellent. Did anyone notice something? Alex didn't search for a perfect answer. He trusted his first thought. Repeat after me. I trust my first thought. Repeat. My first answer is usually enough. Repeat. I keep speaking naturally. Repeat. Excellent. Emma writes something in her notebook. Don't chase perfect answers. Sarah smiles. Exactly. Perfection creates hesitation. Action creates fluency. Repeat after me. Action creates fluency. Repeat. Speaking makes me stronger. Repeat. Every answer builds confidence. Repeat. Excellent. Ryan raises his hand. But what if my first answer isn't very interesting? Sarah smiles. That's perfectly fine. Interesting conversations come later. The first goal is simply to begin speaking. You can't improve an answer that never leaves your mouth. Emma laughs. I've definitely done that before. Sarah nods. Most learners have. They build beautiful sentences inside their heads. But nobody ever hears them. Everyone laughs. Repeat after me. I speak my ideas. Repeat. I don't keep them inside my head. Repeat. Every conversation is practice. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah walks toward the whiteboard again. She writes 2 circles. Inside the first circle, she writes, thinking. Inside the second circle, she writes, speaking. She draws an arrow from thinking to speaking. Emma looks carefully. Sarah explains. Many learners stay here. She points to thinking. They never move. Confident speakers move quickly. Think. Speak. Adjust. Emma smiles. Adjust? Sarah nods. Yes. Maybe your first sentence isn't perfect. That's okay. You can improve it while you're talking. Native speakers do this all the time. Repeat after me. Think. Repeat. Speak. Repeat. Adjust. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah smiles. Let's make the questions faster. No overthinking. Only honest answers. Question. What's your favorite movie? Emma answers immediately. The Pursuit of Happiness. Why? Because it reminds me to never give up. Question. What's your dream vacation? Japan. Why? I've always wanted to experience the culture and the beautiful scenery. Question. Morning or evening? Morning. Why? I have more energy. And I enjoy the quiet. Sarah smiles. Very good. Did everyone notice? Emma answered before her brain had time to panic. Repeat after me. I answer before I panic. Repeat. Confidence grows with practice. Repeat. I enjoy speaking English. Repeat. Excellent. Sophia smiles. Can I ask Emma a question? Sarah nods. Of course. Sophia asks. What's one skill you'd love to learn? Emma smiles immediately. Photography. Sophia laughs. That was fast. Emma laughs too. Because I stopped trying to find a better answer. Sarah nods proudly. Exactly. Your first real answer is almost always better than your perfect imaginary answer. Repeat after me. Real is better than perfect. Repeat. I trust myself. Repeat. I answer naturally. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah smiles. Now it's time for today's native tip. Native speakers don't spend several seconds preparing every answer. They begin with a simple idea. As they continue speaking, their next ideas appear naturally. That's why they sound relaxed. Instead of waiting until your entire answer is ready, start with your first honest thought. Your mind will usually find the rest while you're speaking. Repeat after me. I start with one simple idea. Repeat. More ideas come naturally. Repeat. Speaking becomes easier every day. Repeat. Wonderful. Now it's time for today's listening challenge. Listen carefully. Sarah says, fluent speakers don't wait for perfect answers. They trust their first honest idea and build their response as they continue speaking. What does she mean? A. You should never think before speaking. B. You should begin with a simple, honest answer, instead of waiting for a perfect sentence, then add more information naturally. C. You should memorize every possible answer before having a conversation. The correct answer is B. Excellent work. As the lesson comes to an end, Emma closes her notebook and smiles. Today, she discovered something surprisingly simple. Her biggest obstacle wasn't vocabulary. It wasn't grammar. It wasn't pronunciation. It was waiting. Waiting for the perfect answer. Waiting for perfect confidence. Waiting for perfect English. Now she understands. Confidence doesn't come before speaking. Confidence comes from speaking. And tomorrow, when someone asks her a question, she won't wait for the perfect sentence. She'll simply begin. Sarah looks around the room. Everyone seems more relaxed. Emma notices something surprising. The students who answered the fastest didn't always use the most advanced English. But they all had one thing in common. They trusted themselves. Sarah smiles. Now we're going to practice another important skill, starting your answer immediately, even when you're not completely sure what you're going to say. Emma looks surprised. Is that what native speakers do? Sarah nods. Almost every day. Native speakers don't always know exactly how they'll finish a sentence. They simply begin speaking. Their ideas develop naturally. Repeat after me. I begin speaking with confidence. Repeat. My ideas come naturally. Repeat. I trust my voice. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah writes another sentence on the whiteboard. Your mouth should not wait for your brain to become perfect. Emma laughs. That's funny. But it's true. Sarah smiles. Many English learners wait until every word is ready. Fluent speakers don't. They begin with one simple sentence, then another, then another. Repeat after me. One sentence leads to another. Repeat. Speaking creates more ideas. Repeat. I become more fluent every day. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah turns toward Ryan. Let's try something different. I'm going to ask a question. You only need to answer the first part. Don't worry about the rest. Ryan nods. Sarah asks, what's your favorite place to relax? Ryan answers immediately. The beach. Sarah smiles. Good. Now add one sentence. Ryan continues. I enjoy listening to the sound of the waves. Sarah nods. Now one more. It always helps me forget about stress after a busy week. Sarah smiles. See? You didn't need the whole answer before you started. You built it one sentence at a time. Repeat after me. I build my answers, step by step. Repeat. I don't need everything at once. Repeat. I enjoy speaking naturally. Repeat. Excellent. Emma raises her hand. Can I try? Sarah smiles. Of course. Question. What's one goal you have this year? Emma answers without hesitation. I want to become a more confident English speaker. Sarah smiles. Continue. I want to have conversations without translating every sentence. Sarah nods. One more. I also hope to travel someday and use English with people from different countries. The room applauds softly. Emma smiles. That felt much easier. Sarah nods. Because you stopped trying to create the perfect paragraph. You simply added one idea after another. Repeat after me. One idea is enough to begin. Repeat. Another idea will follow. Repeat. I trust the process. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah smiles. Now let's practice something that every native speaker uses. Buying yourself a little time. Emma looks curious. Isn't that the same as hesitating? Sarah shakes her head. No. There's a big difference. Hesitation sounds nervous. Buying time sounds natural. She writes several expressions on the board. That's a good question. Let me think for a second. I've never thought about that before. I'd probably say. Emma smiles. I hear native speakers say those all the time. Sarah nods. Exactly. They're not afraid to think. They simply think out loud. Repeat after me. That's a good question. Repeat. Let me think for a second. Repeat. I'd probably say. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah smiles. Let's practice. Emma, what's your favorite childhood memory? Emma smiles. That's a good question. Let me think for a second. I'd probably say family vacations during the summer. We always drove to the countryside and spent time together. Those trips are some of my happiest memories. Sarah smiles. Perfect. You didn't freeze. You stayed in the conversation. Repeat after me. I stay in the conversation. Repeat. I think naturally. Repeat. I answer with confidence. Repeat. Excellent. Sophia, joins Emma. She asks, if you could have dinner with anyone in the world, who would it be? Emma smiles. I've never thought about that before. I'd probably choose Jane Goodall. I've always admired her work with animals and the environment. I think I'd learn so much from talking with her. Sophia smiles. That's a wonderful choice. Sarah nods. Notice what Emma did. She didn't panic because the question was unexpected. She used a natural thinking phrase. Then she answered. Repeat after me. Unexpected questions don't scare me. Repeat. I stay calm. Repeat. I always find something to say. Repeat. Excellent. David raises his hand. What if I make a mistake after answering quickly? Sarah smiles warmly. Then you correct yourself. That's exactly what native speakers do. Nobody speaks perfectly all the time. Emma looks surprised. Really? Sarah laughs. Of course. Sometimes we forget a word. Sometimes we choose the wrong expression. Sometimes we change our minds halfway through a sentence. The important thing is that we keep talking. Repeat after me. Mistakes are normal. Repeat. I keep speaking anyway. Repeat. Every mistake teaches me something. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah walks toward the whiteboard once again. She writes 3 simple steps. Start. Continue. Improve. Emma reads them aloud. Start. Continue. Improve. Sarah smiles. Many learners try to improve before they even start. But fluency works in the opposite order. First, you begin. Then you continue. Finally, you improve. Repeat after me. Start. Repeat. Continue. Repeat. Improve. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah smiles. Now let's play another round of the quick response challenge. Remember, you only have 3 seconds to begin. Question. What's your favorite way to spend a weekend? Emma answers immediately. Going for a long walk. Why? Because it helps. What else? I usually stop at a small coffee shop and read for a while. Question. What's something you're proud of? Learning English. Why? Because I used to be afraid of speaking. And now? Now I actually enjoy conversations. The class applauds. Sarah smiles proudly. That answer came from your heart. That's why it sounded so natural. Repeat after me. Honest answers sound natural. Repeat. I speak from experience. Repeat. People understand me. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah smiles. Now it's time for today's native tip. When native speakers need a moment to think, they don't become silent. They use short, natural expressions to stay connected. These expressions show confidence because they keep the conversation flowing. Instead of worrying about finding the perfect sentence, use a simple thinking phrase and let your ideas develop naturally. Repeat after me. I stay connected while I think. Repeat. I sound calm and confident. Repeat. I enjoy real conversations. Repeat. Wonderful. Now it's time for today's listening challenge. Listen carefully. Sarah says, fluent speakers don't panic when they need a moment to think. They use natural expressions, begin with a simple idea, and build their answer one sentence at a time. What does she mean? A. You should stay completely silent until your answer is perfect. B. Using natural thinking phrases and building your answer gradually helps conversations feel smooth and confident. C. Only native speakers know how to answer unexpected questions. The correct answer is B. Excellent work. As everyone packs up their notebooks for a short break, Emma notices something she has never felt before. Questions no longer feel like obstacles. They feel like opportunities. Opportunities to share an idea, to tell a story, to connect with another person. And with every quick answer she gives, her confidence grows a little stronger. She realizes that fluency doesn't begin when you know everything. It begins the moment you stop waiting and start speaking. Welcome back to SpeakWise Podcast. So far today, you've discovered something powerful. You don't need to wait for the perfect answer. You don't need to translate every sentence. You simply need to begin. Now Sarah is ready to introduce one final challenge before the class ends. She calls it the surprise question game. Emma smiles. That sounds interesting. Sarah nods. Real conversations are unpredictable. People don't always ask the questions you've practiced. Sometimes you'll hear something completely unexpected. Your goal isn't to have a perfect answer. Your goal is to stay relaxed. Repeat after me. I stay calm. Repeat. I answer naturally. Repeat. I trust myself. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah places a small box on the table. Inside are dozens of question cards. Each student will pick one card without looking. They'll have 3 seconds to begin answering. Emma reaches into the box. She picks a card. Sarah smiles. Read it. Emma looks at the card. If you could relive one day from your life, which day would you choose? Emma laughs softly. That's difficult. Sarah smiles. Remember. 3 seconds. Go. Emma takes a small breath. I'd probably choose my university graduation day. Sarah nods. Keep going. It was one of the happiest moments of my life because my parents looked so proud. I'll never forget seeing them smile as I walked across the stage. Sarah smiles warmly. Excellent! Did everyone notice? Emma didn't freeze. She started with her first honest thought. The rest came naturally. Repeat after me. My first idea is enough. Repeat. The rest will follow. Repeat. I trust the process. Repeat. Excellent. Alex picks the next card. Sarah reads it aloud. What's one thing you've always wanted to learn? Alex answers immediately. I'd love to learn how to play the piano. Sarah smiles. Continue. I've always admired people who can create beautiful music. I think practicing every day would teach me patience. Ryan smiles. What kind of music would you like to play? Alex laughs. Mostly movie soundtracks. I love emotional music. Sarah nods. Wonderful. The conversation continued because someone asked another question. Repeat after me. Questions create conversations. Repeat. Curiosity keeps people talking. Repeat. I enjoy learning about others. Repeat. Excellent. Sophia reaches into the box. She reads her question. What's one habit you'd like to improve? She smiles. I'd like to wake up earlier. Sarah nods. Why? Because I always feel happier and more productive in the morning. Emma smiles. What's stopping you? Sophia laughs. Late night movies. Everyone laughs. Sarah smiles. That's exactly how conversations work. One answer. One question. One honest moment. Repeat after me. Honest conversations feel natural. Repeat. Simple answers are powerful. Repeat. I enjoy sharing my life. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah walks toward the whiteboard. She writes another sentence. Don't fear silence. Use it wisely. Emma looks curious. I thought silence was bad. Sarah smiles. Not always. A short pause is natural. A long pause caused by fear is different. Native speakers pause too, but they're thinking about ideas, not worrying about mistakes. Repeat after me. Short pauses are natural. Repeat. I don't fear silence. Repeat. I stay relaxed. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah demonstrates. Question. What's your favorite holiday? She smiles for a second. Christmas. Because my whole family gets together. We cook, laugh, and spend time with each other. That tiny pause sounded natural. It didn't sound nervous. Emma nods. I understand. It's okay to think. Just don't panic. Sarah smiles. Exactly. Repeat after me. I think calmly. Repeat. I answer confidently. Repeat. I enjoy every conversation. Repeat. Excellent. Ryan smiles. Can we make the questions even faster? Sarah laughs. Absolutely. Lightning round. Everyone sits up straight. Sara asks, coffee or tea? Emma, coffee. Because I love the smell in the morning. Beach or mountains? Mountains. They're peaceful and beautiful. Morning or night? Morning. I feel more energetic. Books or movies? Books. They let me imagine more. Summer or winter? Winter. I enjoy cool weather. Everyone laughs. Sarah smiles. Notice something. Emma didn't answer perfectly. She answered confidently. That's much more important. Repeat after me. Confidence matters more than perfection. Repeat. I answer without fear. Repeat. Every conversation makes me stronger. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah smiles. Now let's practice changing your answer naturally. Native speakers do this all the time. Listen. What's your favorite fruit? I'd say strawberries. Actually, maybe mangoes. It depends on the season. Emma laughs. You changed your answer. Sarah nods. Exactly. That's completely normal. You don't have to stick with your first thought forever. You can correct yourself naturally. Repeat after me. Actually. Repeat. On second thought. Repeat. It depends. Repeat. Excellent. Emma practices. What's your favorite hobby? I'd say reading. Actually. Lately, I've been enjoying photography even more. Sarah smiles. Perfect. That sounds exactly like a real conversation. Repeat after me. I can change my mind. Repeat. I keep speaking naturally. Repeat. I don't fear making corrections. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah smiles. Now it's time for today's native tip. Native speakers don't worry about sounding perfect. Sometimes, they pause. Sometimes, they change their minds. Sometimes, they laugh at their own mistakes. What makes them sound fluent is that they keep the conversation moving. They trust themselves enough to continue. You can build that same confidence every time you practice. Repeat after me. I trust myself. Repeat. I keep the conversation moving. Repeat. Fluency grows every day. Repeat. Wonderful. Now it's time for today's listening challenge. Listen carefully. Sarah says, confident speakers aren't afraid of unexpected questions because they know they don't need perfect answers. They simply begin speaking, adjust naturally, and keep the conversation moving. What does she mean? A. You should stop talking whenever you make a mistake. B. Real confidence comes from continuing the conversation instead of waiting for perfect English. C. Only experienced speakers can answer surprise questions. The correct answer is B. Excellent work. As the class takes a short break, Emma looks around the room. Only a month ago, surprise questions would have filled her with anxiety. Today, they feel almost exciting. She has learned an important lesson. The fastest speaker isn't always the most fluent. The most fluent speaker is often the one who isn't afraid to begin. And every time Emma answers a little faster, she notices something changing. She's no longer translating. She's no longer searching for perfect sentences. She's simply having conversations. One honest answer at a time. Welcome back to SpeakWise Podcast. Today, you've already learned how to stop waiting for the perfect answer. You've learned how to begin speaking quickly. You've learned how to use natural thinking phrases. Now Sarah is ready to teach one final speaking habit that confident English speakers use every single day. She smiles at the class. Everyone has done an amazing job today. But there's still one habit that can make your conversations sound even more natural. Emma looks curious. What is it? Sarah writes one sentence on the whiteboard. Keep talking, even if your sentence isn't perfect. Emma smiles. That sounds simple. Sarah nods. It is simple, but it's also one of the hardest habits to build. Many learners stop speaking the moment they notice a mistake. Native speakers don't. They simply keep going. Repeat after me. I keep talking. Repeat. Mistakes don't stop me. Repeat. Communication comes first. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah walks toward Emma. Let's practice. I'll ask you a question. If you make a mistake, don't stop. Simply continue. Emma nods. I'm ready. Sarah smiles. What's something you enjoy doing after work? Emma answers immediately. I usually go for a walk because it helps me relax after a busy day. Sometimes I listen to music while I'm walking. Sarah smiles. Excellent. Did everyone notice? Emma corrected herself naturally. Then she continued speaking. She didn't apologize. She didn't panic. She simply moved forward. Repeat after me. I correct myself naturally. Repeat. I keep speaking. Repeat. Every conversation builds confidence. Repeat. Excellent. Ryan raises his hand. Sometimes I say the wrong word. Then I stop, because I feel embarrassed. Sarah smiles kindly. Let's change that habit. Making a mistake doesn't end a conversation. Stopping does. Everyone becomes quiet. Sarah continues. Imagine someone asks you about your favorite sport. You accidentally say football when you meant basketball. You can simply say, actually, I meant basketball. Then continue. That's exactly what native speakers do. Repeat after me. Actually, I meant. Repeat. Let me say that another way. Repeat. What I wanted to say was. Repeat. Excellent. Sophia smiles. Those expressions sound very natural. Sarah nods. Because they are. Confident speakers don't hide mistakes. They recover smoothly. Emma writes another note. Recover. Don't restart. Sarah notices. That's a wonderful sentence. Never restart the whole conversation. Just repair one small part and continue. Repeat after me. I recover quickly. Repeat. I continue confidently. Repeat. Small mistakes don't matter. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah smiles. Now let's practice another real-life situation. Imagine you're talking to someone at work. Your manager asks, "What did you accomplish today?" Emma answers, "I finished the monthly report. Actually, I didn't completely finish it. I completed most of it. And I'll finish the last section tomorrow morning." Sarah smiles. Perfect. That sounded honest, natural, and confident. You corrected yourself without fear. Repeat after me. I speak honestly. Repeat. I stay confident. Repeat. I keep the conversation moving. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah turns to Daniel. Daniel, tell us about your weekend. Daniel smiles. I visited my parents. Actually, it wasn't this weekend. It was last weekend. We had dinner together, watched a movie, and talked for hours. Sarah nods. Wonderful. Did anyone think less of Daniel because he corrected himself? Everyone shakes their heads. No. Sarah smiles. Exactly. People care much more about understanding you than about tiny mistakes. Repeat after me. People want to understand me. Repeat. I don't fear small mistakes. Repeat. I enjoy communicating. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah walks back to the whiteboard. She writes another sentence. Fluency is flexibility. Emma reads it aloud. Fluency is flexibility. Sarah smiles. What do you think that means? Emma thinks for a moment. Maybe. It means fluent speakers can adapt. Sarah nods. Exactly. Sometimes you forget a word. You describe it. Sometimes you make a mistake. You correct it. Sometimes you change your opinion. You explain why. The conversation keeps moving. Repeat after me. I adapt naturally. Repeat. I stay flexible. Repeat. I enjoy every conversation. Repeat. Excellent. Ryan smiles. Can we try a conversation with mistakes on purpose? Sarah laughs. That's an excellent idea. Emma and Ryan stand together. Ryan asks, "What's your favorite restaurant?" Emma answers, "My favorite restaurant is Italian. Actually, it's a Japanese restaurant near my office. I love the sushi there because it's always fresh." Ryan smiles. "What's your favorite dish?" Emma answers, "Salmon rolls. Although, lately, I've been ordering ramen more often." Everyone smiles. Sarah claps softly. Excellent. Emma changed her answer twice. Did it sound strange? Sophia smiles. No. It sounded real. Sarah nods. Exactly. Real conversations are full of small corrections. That's part of natural speech. Repeat after me. Real conversations are flexible. Repeat. I speak naturally. Repeat. I don't fear changing my answer. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah smiles. Now, let's practice responding when you don't understand something. Many learners become silent, but confident speakers ask for help. She writes several expressions on the board. Could you say that again? I'm not sure I understood. Do you mean? Could you explain that another way? Emma smiles. Those are useful. Sarah nods. Very useful. Asking for clarification is part of good communication. It shows confidence, not weakness. Repeat after me. Could you say that again? Repeat. Do you mean? Repeat. Could you explain that another way? Repeat. Excellent. Danielle smiles. I always thought asking someone to repeat was embarrassing. Sarah shakes her head. Not at all. Even native speakers ask people to repeat things, especially in noisy places, or when someone speaks too quickly. Repeat after me. It's okay to ask for help. Repeat. Good communication is teamwork. Repeat. I stay relaxed. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah smiles. Now it's time for today's native tip. One reason native speakers sound confident is that they don't expect every sentence to be perfect. They correct themselves. They ask questions. They clarify ideas. And then they keep talking. Their goal isn't perfection. Their goal is communication. Make that your goal too. Repeat after me. Communication is my goal. Repeat. I keep improving every day. Repeat. Confidence grows through practice. Repeat. Wonderful. Now it's time for today's listening challenge. Listen carefully. Sarah says, confident speakers don't let small mistakes interrupt the conversation. They correct themselves naturally, ask for clarification when needed, and continue speaking with confidence. What does she mean? A. You should stop talking every time you make a mistake. B. Small mistakes are normal, and continuing the conversation is more important than being perfect. C. Only native speakers can recover from mistakes naturally. The correct answer is B. Excellent work. As the lesson continues, Emma notices something she never expected. The students who sound the most fluent aren't the ones who never make mistakes. They're the ones who never let mistakes stop them. That realization changes everything. For the first time, Emma no longer feels afraid of saying something imperfect. She knows that every sentence doesn't have to be flawless. It only has to move the conversation forward. And with every conversation, she feels herself becoming a little faster, a little calmer, and a little more confident than the day before. The final activity begins. Sarah asks everyone to stand in a large circle. Emma feels calm. She is no longer worried about the next question. She is no longer building complete answers in her head before speaking. She is ready to listen, respond, and continue. Sarah smiles at the group. For our final challenge, each person will answer one unexpected question. You will have 3 seconds to begin. You may use a natural thinking phrase if you need one. You may correct yourself. You may change your mind. But you may not give up. Repeat after me. I begin with confidence. Repeat. I continue even when I make mistakes. Repeat. I trust myself to communicate. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah turns to Emma first. Emma, what is one decision that changed your life? Emma does not freeze. She takes a gentle breath. Learning English. She smiles and continues. Learning English changed my life because it helped me become more open and confident. At first, I only wanted to understand movies and videos. But over time, English gave me the courage to meet new people and imagine a bigger future for myself. Sarah smiles warmly. That was a beautiful answer. How long did you think before speaking? Emma laughs. Almost no time at all. I just started with the first true answer. Sarah nods. Exactly. The first true answer gave you somewhere to begin. Then your ideas followed naturally. Repeat after me. My first true answer is enough. Repeat. I build my answer while I speak. Repeat. My ideas become clearer as I continue. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah turns to Ryan. What is something you used to be afraid of? Ryan answers quickly. Speaking in front of people. He poses for a moment. Actually, I'm still a little afraid of it. But now I know that being nervous doesn't mean I have to stay silent. Last month, I gave a short presentation at work, and it went much better than I expected. Sarah smiles. Very natural. You corrected your first answer without stopping. Ryan nods. I used to think changing an answer made me sound uncertain. Now I think it makes me sound honest. Sarah smiles. Exactly. Natural communication is not about pretending to be perfect. It is about expressing what you truly mean. Repeat after me. I say what I truly mean. Repeat. I can correct myself calmly. Repeat. Honest English sounds natural. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah turns to Sophia. What is one place that always makes you feel peaceful? Sophia begins immediately. My grandmother's garden. She smiles. It is a small garden behind her house, filled with flowers and herbs. When I was a child, I spent many summer hours. Even now, the smell of fresh flowers reminds me of her. The room becomes quiet for a moment. Emma smiles. That sounds like a very special place. Sophia nods. It is. Sarah looks around the circle. Did everyone notice what just happened? Sophia started with only 4 words. My grandmother's garden. She didn't need the whole story before she began. The story appeared one sentence at a time. Repeat after me. One short sentence can begin a story. Repeat. I do not need to plan everything. Repeat. I let my ideas develop naturally. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah continues moving around the circle. She asks Alex, what is one thing you would change about the world? Alex thinks for a second. That's a big question. I'd probably make education easier for everyone to access. I believe people can change their lives when they have the opportunity to learn. No matter where someone is born, they should have the chance to develop their abilities. Sarah nods. Excellent use of a thinking phrase. You gave yourself a moment without disappearing from the conversation. Alex smiles. It felt different from nervous silence. Sarah nods. Because it was intentional. You stayed present. Repeat after me. I stay present while I think. Repeat. I use natural thinking phrases. Repeat. Silence does not control me. Repeat. Excellent. Emma listens carefully to every answer. She notices that nobody speaks in exactly the same way. Some people begin with a direct answer. Some begin with a thinking phrase. Some pause briefly. Some correct themselves. But they all continue. That is what makes them sound confident. Sarah looks at Emma. What have you learned from listening to everyone? Emma thinks calmly. I've learned that fast speaking doesn't mean speaking without thinking. It means not letting fear control the thinking process. Sarah smiles. Can you explain that a little more? Emma nods. Before this lesson, I thought I needed to prepare every sentence perfectly. That made me slow because I was thinking about grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, and mistakes at the same time. Now I focus on only one thing: beginning. Once I begin, I can build the rest naturally. Sarah nods proudly. That is the heart of today's lesson. Repeat after me. I focus on beginning. Repeat. I build one sentence at a time. Repeat. Fear no longer controls my voice. Repeat. Wonderful. Sarah walks to the whiteboard and writes 5 words. Listen. Choose. Begin. Build. Continue. She turns toward the class. This is your new response process. First, listen carefully to the question. Second, choose the first true idea that enters your mind. Third, begin with a simple sentence. Fourth, build your answer with reasons, details, or examples. Finally, continue even if you need to correct yourself. Emma reads the words aloud. Listen. Choose. Begin. Build. Continue. Sarah smiles. Let's practice them together. Repeat after me. I listen to the whole question. Repeat. I choose one simple idea. Repeat. I begin without waiting for perfection. Repeat. I build my answer naturally. Repeat. I continue with confidence. Repeat. Excellent. Sarah asks Emma one more question. What advice would you give to someone who freezes during English conversations? Emma answers immediately. I would tell them to stop searching for the perfect sentence. Start with the simplest true answer you can think of. You can add details later. You can correct mistakes later. But you cannot have a conversation if you never begin. The class applauds. Emma laughs softly. A few weeks ago, I needed that advice myself. Sarah smiles. And now you are giving it to others. That is real progress. Repeat after me. I recognize my progress. Repeat. I am stronger than I was before. Repeat. I can help other learners grow. Repeat. Excellent. The class ends, but several students remain in the room. They continue talking without any official exercise. Ryan and Alex discuss travel. Sophia shows Emma a picture of her grandmother's garden. Michael asks Sarah about next week's meeting. Emma notices that the real practice begins when the lesson ends. She walks over to Michael. How did the challenge feel today? Michael smiles. Scary at first. But then it became fun. Emma asks, what helped you the most? Michael thinks for a second. I'd probably say the 3-second rule. It stopped me from translating everything. Emma nods. That helped me too. What question was the hardest for you? Michael laughs. The one about changing the world. My mind went completely blank. Emma smiles. But you still answered. Michael nods. I used the phrase, that's a difficult question. Then, an idea appeared. Emma smiles. Exactly. Sometimes you only need a bridge between the question and your answer. Repeat after me. Thinking phrases are bridges. Repeat. They help me stay connected. Repeat. My answer will come. Repeat. Excellent. As they continue talking, Michael asks Emma a question. What do you think is the biggest difference between studying English and using English? Emma does not hesitate. Studying English is about learning how the language works. Using English is about trusting yourself enough to communicate. She pauses briefly. Actually, I think we need both. Studying gives us tools, but real conversations teach us how to use those tools naturally. Michael smiles. That's a great answer. Emma smiles too. It came more quickly than I expected. Michael laughs. You followed your own advice. Emma realizes he is right. She did not translate. She did not prepare. She listened. She chose an idea. She began. Then she built the answer naturally. For the first time, the method no longer feels like an exercise. It feels like part of her. Sarah approaches them before they leave. Emma, how are you feeling now? Emma answers immediately. Proud. Sarah smiles. Tell me more. Emma continues. I'm proud because I used to believe fast answers were only possible for native speakers. Now I understand that quick responses are a habit. The more I trust simple English, the faster my ideas appear. Sarah nods. And what will you do the next time your mind goes blank? Emma smiles. I'll use a natural thinking phrase. I'll choose one honest idea. And I'll begin. Before fear has time to stop me. Repeat after me. I begin before fear stops me. Repeat. Simple English is powerful. Repeat. I trust my ability to respond. Repeat. Wonderful. Now it is time for today's final native tip. When someone asks you a question, do not try to create the entire answer in silence. Listen carefully. Choose one true idea. Begin with simple English. Then allow your thoughts to develop while you speak. Use expressions such as, "That's a good question. Let me think for a second." Or I'd probably say when you need a little time. Correct yourself naturally when necessary. Most importantly, stay inside the conversation. Repeat after me. I stay inside the conversation. Repeat. I begin with simple English. Repeat. My confidence grows every time I respond. Repeat. Excellent. Now, it is time for today's final listening challenge. Listen carefully. Sarah says, quick responses do not come from speaking carelessly. They come from trusting a simple first idea, beginning without perfection, and developing your answer while you speak. What does she mean? A. You should answer without listening to the question. B. You should memorize one answer and use it for every conversation. C. You should listen carefully, begin with one honest idea, and add more information naturally instead of preparing everything in silence. The correct answer is C. Excellent work. Emma leaves the English Conversation Club and walks toward the bus stop. The evening air feels cool. The street is busy, but her mind feels peaceful. As she waits, a tourist approaches her. Excuse me, do you know where the central train station is? A few weeks ago, Emma might have frozen. She might have translated the directions in her head. She might have worried about using the wrong preposition. But tonight, she answers immediately. Yes? Go straight for 2 blocks. Then turn left at the traffic light. You'll see the station next to a large hotel. The tourist smiles. Thank you so much. Emma smiles back. You're welcome. The conversation lasts only a few seconds. But to Emma, it feels like a victory. She listened. She understood. She trusted herself. She spoke. No perfect preparation. No long silence. No fear. Just communication. As the bus arrives, Emma thinks about everything she has learned. She does not need to know every possible question. She does not need to prepare every possible answer. She only needs the courage to begin. One simple word can become a sentence. One sentence can become an explanation. One explanation can become a story. And one quick response can become a meaningful conversation. Thank you for spending this time with SpeakWise Podcast. If this lesson helped you answer English questions faster and more naturally, like the video and subscribe to SpeakWise Podcast for more practical English practice. Keep listening, keep responding, keep trusting your English, and remember, you do not need the perfect answer. You only need to begin.